Has anyone, you guys have probably been busy. There has been a fair amount going on. Have you noticed what Ohio State's been doing? Most recently, they've been lapping the field in recruiting. They've got like Ohio State, and then you got a lot of room. And then you got the number 2, 3, 4 teams right now. Granted, it's March and we're in the middle of a national crisis, so I don't think a lot of people have college football recruiting on the forefront of their mind. But that's just one aspect of this program. Their recruiting is a total machine right now. Their infrastructure, everything about the Ohio State football program is operating with machine-like precision. There's no distraction up there. Their coaching staff is A+. Their roster is A+. Quarterback right now is A+. Their investment is A+. Their resources are A+. Where is the red X? Like, what box do they not check? Here's the problem. The problem is no one in the Big Ten is close to him right now. You can watch on the field, but even if you just paid attention to everything but football games and you saw what Ohio State's doing and the level with which in every aspect of their program they're peaking the meter at 10 plus, it wouldn't take a rocket scientist to realize, man, they're probably winning football games Saturdays in the fall, aren't they? Here is what I've noticed. What I've noticed with Clemson is they had to do this in the ACC. They rose to such a degree that no one in the ACC challenged them. Now, the rest of the Big Ten is a lot closer to Ohio State than the rest of the ACC is to Clemson, but there's still a sizable gap between either one of them and their respective conferences. Follow me for a second here. A lot of folks, I think, have a misconception about Clemson. They look at Clemson and they look at the pillow fight that is the rest of the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they think to themselves, oh, Clemson's got it made. That's really, really easy to go through that. Now, it is easy to beat the teams they have to beat in conference, just like it is easy for Ohio State to paste Purdue or Northwestern or whoever they need to. The difference is it doesn't matter on a given Saturday if Ohio State beats Indiana by 23 points or 43 points. Doesn't matter. A win's a win. It's a comfortable 3+ score win. Just like with Clemson, it doesn't matter if they beat Wake Forest by 20 or 40. It doesn't matter if they show up with their C+ game. Sad reality, right now, Clemson's C+ game is in most cases good enough to go undefeated. Ohio State, got to be a little better than C+, but Ohio State can show up far from perfect, and just by the nature of how superior their roster is to the rest of the Big Ten, including some of the big boys in the Big Ten, they can still win the vast majority to all of their regular season games. Here's what I respect about what Clemson has done, and here's what I think that Ryan Day and Ohio State are well on their way to doing. Clemson realized we can't hold ourselves to an ACC standard. It doesn't matter if we are 10 rungs above everyone else on the ladder. You notice with Clemson, they annihilate in the good years, they still find ways to annihilate everyone. They don't have that sleepy Saturday. Again, in the good years, they don't have that sleepy Saturday. And the reason that they're doing that is because they're not holding themselves to a Wake Forest standard, in all due respect, to a Virginia standard. And Virginia played for the conference championship last year. What they're doing is they're getting ready for January. And so I wonder, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I almost wonder if we're shifting into a territory right now with Ohio State whereas previously you would have said, all right, well, they got Penn State coming up this year, and then, of course, you got the big one against Michigan at the end of the year. Guys, I don't even know that I'm thinking that way right now with Ohio State. What I'm thinking is, how do they match up with Alabama? How do they match up with LSU, Georgia? How do they match up with Clemson? What does Ohio State versus Oklahoma look like? That's the context they're in right now. I don't even think about them as being in the Big Ten because they have become so superior in that conference that it is college football playoff as a starting point for me with them. Obviously, they can't afford to think like that, but that's what's so impressive. That's not what they're thinking like. Let me tell you what a lot of people would do in Ryan Day's position or in Ohio State's position. A lot of folks in a lot of programs would look around at the distance between them and number 2 in their conference, and subconsciously they would check into cruise control mode. And that's not what they're doing. In fact, if anything, they've put the foot even harder down on the pedal, and that's what I respect about it, because they're painting the walls with everyone's blood in their conference, but that's not what they're going to do to win a national championship. What they're going to have to do to win a national championship is show up in Glendale, Arizona, pop Clemson early, but then hold on and get the win instead of having Clemson come back on them. And it doesn't matter if you're up by 33 or 53 against Purdue in the middle of November. it matters that you maintain the standard, even against inferior teams, that you're going to need to play at come January. It's all about January right now with Ohio State. They have totally transcended the Big Ten Conference, and given the prestige and given the magnitude of some of the programs up there and given the amount of investment into those programs up there and the big names of those coaches, I'm not sure that's something a lot of folks thought they'd be saying, especially if we go back. And I love to laugh at this because fortunately, I was at least not in this camp. The day Urban Meyer retired, I'll never forget scrolling. I picked up the iJosh and I scrolled through Twitter, and all these folks, a lot of you know who you are, a lot of folks thought it was the beginning of the end, or at least the beginning of Ohio State sort of descending back to the pack among those of us who were merely normal. And then you heard they didn't have this national coaching search. They just promoted Ryan Day. And you thought to yourself, well, okay then. All right, well, let's see. Is it Michigan going to be the favorite here? Who's going to be the favorite in the Big Ten? Oh, never mind. They're actually going to improve their program. What I saw, and I didn't just observe this, I had a couple of people who I really, really have opinions that I value. They text me when I was asking them, what do you think about this Ryan Day? What do you think about this hire or this kind of promotion to head coach? They said, all you need to know is they got their first choice. And the people who said that to me, combined with common sense, led me to believe this dude's about to torch the barn and kill the rats in the Big Ten. And that's exactly what he's done. Ohio State could have had a whole lot of folks. That's the whole point. They knew they had the right guy inside their own four walls of their athletic complex up there. And so they got the guy they wanted to replace Urban Meyer. Now, a couple of years later, everyone looks around and says, Ryan Day's a monster. Where did he come from? Well, he was right there the whole time. And they knew they had him right there the whole time. That's why there wasn't a whole lot of gnashing of teeth in Columbus nearly as much as you would have expected there to be externally when Urban Meyer stepped down. So Ohio State, hats off, man. They are rolling right now.